I'm Thorne Dickinson. This show allows me to talk with Mainers working on the most important clean energy project to ever come to our state. We discuss how this project is providing jobs and other benefits today while creating clean energy for a better tomorrow. In today's episode, we're at the Portland waterfront and we're meeting with Katie Yates. She's a brand new member of the project team. Previously, she'd been at the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and she has a real passion for the outdoors and an interesting perspective on this project.
I am very interested in my whole life in conservation. I've always loved the outdoors. I grew up spending time outside, hiking and camping and rock climbing, exploring national parks. So when it came time for me to pick a career, I decided to sort of head in the direction of conservation and resource management. I had the pleasure of working for the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. I really enjoy the communications aspect of it. The side of it that I'm really fascinated by is humans' interaction with nature and the benefits that we get from it. I consider myself a conservationist, I consider myself an environmentalist, so being able to talk about the benefits of recreation and the North American conservation model, and all of that is really fascinating to me. So to have the opportunity to do that for the state of Maine was really exciting. I'm very enthusiastic about being able to talk about this particular project as a conservationist, as a Mainer, and as someone that's really that likes to think about the ways that we here in Maine can benefit from projects like this one.
Tell me a little bit about that process that you went through there to get to the idea of, okay, I do believe in this project.
Yeah, I wanted to do something that was more proactive and that was more getting my hands dirty, and I think that this project is one of the biggest things to happen to Maine and frankly to happen to clean energy in New England and the Northeast. So when I saw the opportunity, I thought, well, there's a moment where I could really affect change in a proactive level. Rather than sort of responding to things, I can really be part of something that's really going to change Maine for years to come. It's a great legacy.
You talked about some of the things that would be helpful for the younger generation to learn. I'm guessing that was some of the work that you did in order to get comfortable that this project answer your own questions.
Yeah, so I really get my information from YouTube, from podcasts,
right.
And so those outlets are a really great way to communicate with young people. They get their information in small pieces, in little parcels. They're packaged in a very different way than old media, than a news report on television. I don't even have cable.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of understanding that young people definitely absorb information differently. We have the Amazon effect. We want our information quickly, we want it now, and we want to be able to see bullet points of what exactly that means for us and for our community. I think that this project is very exciting for people who are interested in green energy and sustainability, and we know that Gen Z is very enthusiastic about those issues. And
right.
So this project is actually something that they should be really, really excited about, and I think that if given the opportunity to learn more about it, they really would be.
So what was your experience so far? You've had a lot to get up to speed on. How has that been so far?
Yeah, there's a lot of information to absorb. But actually the thing that I found the most interesting and maybe the most surprising is just the sheer number of people who are working on this project and how much they truly believe in this. They're very passionate about it, they're very excited about it, and they really care. It's not a marketing strategy when we say that we care. We actually do. We're enthusiastic people, whether it's contractors or it's people working on the line or if it's in the office. All these people really, really believe in this mission. We believe in sustainability and green energy.
One of the things I'm curious about is, I'm assuming you get a lot of questions from friends and people that you know. What do you say when they ask you about this project, particularly as it relates to their wildlife and the impacts on the environment and things like that? How do you address that?
Yeah, well, I know that this project, the impacts of it will be minimal in comparison to the benefits. The worst thing that we could do is nothing. Climate change is the number one thing negatively impacting wildlife in our state. It impacts songbirds, deer, moose. They all start to move further north as they try to get out of the warmer areas. It creates droughts, it creates onslaughts of rain like we've been seeing in the last week or so, and it allows species like winter tick, for example, which impact moose, to proliferate. The number one thing that we could do to devastate our wildlife in Maine is nothing. So the very small impact that this is going to have is definitely worth reducing carbon emissions in our state.
We were probably about 3 or 4 miles off of Route 201 in the very kind of new section of the corridor. And I don't know, maybe 100 meters in front of us was a small moose. And we were very curious what it would do when it saw us, because we were probably about 300 meters away from the corridor, an area that had already been cut. So we tossed up a little camera and kept their distance and just kind of let it go on its own way. And it was fascinating. It went down the logging trail for a period of time until it got to the corridor where we cut, and then went right up the corridor, which I thought was, you know, it's one example, but I thought it was a perfect example.
It's using it wildlife will pick the easiest route. It doesn't want to have to work harder than it has to. So if it sees this opportunity to move and there's plenty of browse and it looks like a nice, safe place for them to walk, they absolutely will.
So one of the other interesting things I find about this project is we've been through this 3.5-year thorough analysis on the project, and all of those have concluded this is a good project for the region, for the economy, and for Maine. And I mean, your thoughts now that we're facing a referendum in November, you know, what's your perspective on that?
Maine desperately needs to bring young people to our state. We desperately need to bring industry and commerce, and it needs to be an exciting place for young people to want to work. And if we have it so that as soon as you get all the permits to do something and have your business and you're moving forward, and if someone doesn't like it, they can just have a referendum and take away all the work that you've done over the course of 3 to 5 years, that is not appealing, especially if you're looking to start a business. You know, if you're looking to make a change and make a difference and invest in an economy. If something can just be snatched away from you, even though you went through all the legal process and you did everything that you were supposed to do, and you worked with the state the way that you're supposed to and made modifications and did all that, and then someone says, actually no, we can just say that that's not what's happening. That I think is something that is dangerous. It's a scary precedent to set.
And in next week's episode, we're going to be heading north to the project site, and Katie will have her first look at the overall project and a further discussion of how important this project is to Maine.